again. Oh no. Ah, boy. For the end of the project, you're keeping me busy. So what's your question? Oh, behavioral engineering? You mean like a behavioral engineer, behavioral engineering? Okay. Don't you think that's a little bit above your pay grade? First day on the job. Okay, if you want to know about it. Anyway, first of all, I don't even know behavioral engineer. I don't know if they even exist today. They might, but what we're building, the R3 model, I think to me, this would blow me away. If I was on the outside of the project looking in, I'm going to tell you what, in the future, behavioral engineers will do. This is going to blow you, this is going to blow me away. I love this part. You're just asking me this question because you know it excites me, right? You love, because you may see me excited about this kind of thing. Well, a behavioral engineer or a behavioral engineering will look like this in the future if the R3 model exists the way it's done. First of all, we're building this thing in a CMS, which is like SharePoint. It can be built on any CMS or SharePoint. But 10, 15 years ago, I worked on this, and I didn't even realize where we would be with PDAs, but I assumed that would exist. Now, how I knew that we would be at this level, I don't know, but I built the model actually built based on all this technology. So now, only now is it going to make practical sense. But this is how a behavioral engineer or behavioral engineering will work within the system. Now, this is way beyond, you have to know a lot about the R3 model to really understand what I'm about ready to say. And I wish I had my tablet PCs with me around me right now, but let me take you to a scenario, what this will look like. First of all, to understand this, you're going to have to know about behaviors, you're going to have to know about components, and you're going to have to know how the system works. But the way the system works basically is a behavioral engineer, there'll be a behavioral engineer, whatever you want to call him, he'll be sitting behind a desk and he'll have a panel up. Now this is really exciting stuff. He'll have a panel up and he'll be able to see all the behaviors running in a single, like a plant or a store. And they'll be coming up in spheres and everything. Now this is so exciting, okay? I'm just going to I don't even have a planner with me because it's being used to film this. But, okay, so everybody has their PDA, right? This is going to be really tough to do under 5 minutes. The future, they'll go into work, someone will go into work, and basically their behaviors will show up like a program, right? And it can make sense now because you see all these apps and going up everything. But imagine this in a corporation where all their behaviors are on a PDA or whatever you want to call it, a smartphone, whatever, smart device, and all these behaviors are integrated into things like a SharePoint or something like that. And I know some people will take these ideas, and I don't really care because it's going to take me decades to build anyway. But they can probably do it faster. Go ahead, fine. But what happens? Let me see if I can explain it because there's so much knowledge that needs to be understood here. The behavioral engineer will be sitting behind the desk and he'll see this graphic up, and there'll be layers of behaviors, cycles, weekly behaviors, daily cycles, all these things. But they'll be cycling almost like atomic, like looking at atoms, if you will. There'll be spheres. It's quite remarkable how to visualize it. Okay, but in the midst of that, you'll have explanation points, whatever, highlights, tagging, popping up on the screen, like if you were using Visio or something like that, instantaneously. Now, how is that occurring? Well, that's occurring because of a scenario that might happen down on the floor. Let me give you the scenario. A person comes into work. They come in, and every day they come in, they slip and fall. Bam. They slip and fall. And they're like, doggone it. That person just never wipes up after. Okay? They're complaining about something. Typically in a business, what would happen? They would go to the manager would then say, the manager would talk to the other guy, and they would figure out something. Not so in the future. In the future, there'll be a behavioral interface, and all these explanation points. Basically, the person that's doing the floor will say, this floor is bothersome to me because it's wet every time. So basically, then this engineer is getting these feedback from all these employees at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so there's an explanation point. And then he'll see where this behavior meets this behavior, this cycle meets this cycle. Now, so what he'll do is he'll blow it up in one of these screens. It comes up. And he'll then engineer the behaviors where they meet. He'll then set that other behavior that the guy's coming in And the guy that's mopping the floor, he might set that. Now he's seeing the big picture. He might say, use less water. So basically, I almost have to get up for this, but I won't. So the next guy comes in the next day. The behavioral engineer has modified his behavior. He comes in and his planner says behavior modification. And he says, whoa, oh, I guess I have to change my behavior. Use half as much water, or I don't know, whatever. I'm just giving an example. Use less water to dry your floor with, so it dries in less time. So basically, he doesn't have to think about it. The behavioral engineers thought of it, and now basically, then he gives a signal to the other guy. So you've got this process coming into this process, and now this engineer sends out a message. This PDA and this PDA, the system does it for him, of course, and this modified behavior, and then the other guy says, please give feedback. Is this resolution resolved? If it's not, then he modifies it again. But imagine this. Problems are occurring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time in these companies. Our system will re-engineer, you'll be able to sit back with a cappuccino and re-engineer your company 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I guarantee you. So if that doesn't excite you, then come back and ask me another question.